Chapter 8, Van Helsing's Plan. Passages from Dr. Seward's Journal. September 26. Van Helsing returned from London yesterday after visiting Mina Harker. When he got back, he showed me a London newspaper. He pointed to a story about children being lured away from their play. "What do you think of that?" he asked. One paragraph described a small puncture wound found in the children's throats. As I read, I immediately suspected that these wounds were caused by the same beast that injured Lucy. Van Helsing explained that I was wrong. He told me that it was far worse than that. He claimed that the wounds had been made by Lucy herself. Of course, I did not believe him. Van Helsing insists on proving it to me tonight. He says we will have to go to the churchyard where Lucy is buried. Strange request. Yet I have told him I will go with him. In truth, I have no idea what he plans to do. September 27th. Last night I accompanied Van Helsing to the churchyard. He had the key to the Westerna tomb. As he opened the creaky door, he motioned me to go inside. Following me in, he lit a candle. Then he approached Lucy's coffin and took some tools from his bag. "What are you going to do?" I asked. "Open the coffin. It's the only way I convince you that what I said is true." As soon as he got the coffin open, I looked inside. It was empty. This was certainly a surprise, no, a shock to me. "Do you believe me now, John?" Van Helsing asked calmly. "The fact that Lucy's body is not here does not prove that she injured those children," I said. "Perhaps the body was taken by body snatchers." I knew that sounded foolish, but it was the only explanation I could think of. Van Helsing sighed and shook his head. "Well," he said, "I see you need more proof. Come with me." He put the lid back on the coffin, gathered up his tools, and blew out the candle. We left the tomb. Then he told me to keep watch at one side of the churchyard while he watched at the other. It was midnight when we began our watch. At around 2 a.m., I thought I saw something like a white streak. It was moving towards Lucy's tomb. Out of the darkness, the professor hurried toward me. He was leading a small child who was saying something about a bloofer lady. "Is the boy wounded?" I asked. "We shall see," said Van Helsing. We examined the child's throat. It was without a scratch or mark of any kind. "It seems that we were just in time," said the professor. We took the child home and then went home ourselves. Van Helsing has promised to come at noon tomorrow. We will go back to the tomb in the daytime. September 28th. Lucy's body is back in her coffin today. She seems more beautiful than ever. It's hard to believe that she's been dead for over a week. Van Helsing says Lucy is neither dead nor alive, but undead. To save her and others, he says we must drive a stake through her heart. Then we must cut off her head and stuff her mouth with garlic. We plan to come back tonight with Arthur. September 29th. Last night we waited by Lucy's tomb. Near dawn, she returned to it, bringing another child with her. Her mouth was covered with blood and the child was crying. She threw him down to the ground before returning to her coffin. Arthur and I stared in shock. It was proof enough that Van Helsing was telling the truth about her. Van Helsing said he was willing to perform the operation that would save Lucy's soul. But then he had a second thought. Perhaps perhaps the task should go to the one that had loved her best. After it was done, Lucy's soul would be free to join the angels, and the children she had wounded would return to normal. Arthur said that he would be the one to restore Lucy to us as holy rather than unholy memory. As Arthur drove the stake through Lucy's heart, the thing in the coffin screeched. The body shook and twisted wildly. Its sharp white teeth clamped together until its lips were cut. But Arthur did not stop until he was finished. When it was over, a calm came over the body. Once again, it looked like the Lucy we had all loved. After sending Arthur out of the tomb, we sawed the top off the stake, leaving the point of it in the body. After that, we cut off the head and filled the mouth with garlic. We then closed the coffin and hurried out of that wretched place. Outside, the air was sweet, the birds sang, and there was peace everywhere. Van Helsing said that we had work to do. We had to find Dracula and stamp him out. This would be very difficult, but it had to be done. We promised to stick together until the bitter end. We agreed to meet in 2 nights. When I returned home, there was a telegram from Mina Harker. It said that she and Jonathan are coming to Whitby for a visit. I look forward to their arrival tomorrow. September 30th. It was such a pleasure to meet Jonathan Harker. But what a shock to hear that Count Dracula's property in England is right next to mine. The name of the state is Carfax. Knowing where he lives, it may be easier than I thought to find his hiding place. Then our goal is to discover where he keeps the dirt-filled boxes he had shipped from Transylvania. I'm afraid it won't be easy to rid the world of evil Dracula. Van Helsing has told me that the vampire is stronger than 20 men. He can, with some limits, appear at will, whenever and wherever he wishes. And he can appear in several different forms. He can direct storms, fog, and thunder. He can command the rat, the owl, the bat, the moth, the fox, and the wolf. He can become larger or smaller. He can at times disappear. How then are we to destroy him? It will be no easy task. Of that I am sure. But if we fail, he will surely win. And then where shall it end? To fail is not merely a matter of life and death. It's a matter of saving our very souls. For if he wins over us, we shall become like him, foul things of the night. The gates of heaven would be forever shut to us. No matter what, we must face this duty to save ourselves and the world. We are not without our own strength, of course. We have the resources of science. We are free to act and think, and the hours of the day and the night are ours equally. We are devoted to this cause, and we shall act together. I am confident we will win. Van Helsing and I know some of his weaknesses. He cannot move around during daylight hours. He cannot enter a house for the first time unless someone who lives there invites him in. We know that the crucifix has power over him, as does garlic. There are other things too. A branch of wild rose on his coffin will keep him trapped inside. A sacred bullet fired into the coffin will kill him, and he cannot cross running water. Only a stake through the heart and the removal of the head will give him rest. First, we must find his coffin. But we know he has 50 coffins, and we're not sure where they are. Tomorrow we will begin looking for them in Carfax.